This is News at 8.
This is a primetime news bulletin here on Joy News on Multi TV. In this edition, Northern Regional Minister visits Bimbela in efforts to restore peace after one person was reported dead in sporadic shooting on Thursday. Parliament summons Electoral Commission chairman over the EC's inability to conduct and supervise district-level elections. Metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives to be giving GPS maps to help them facilitate work on national street naming exercise. President asks mining companies to be more responsible in communities in which they operate. And Health Minister inaugurates new Food and Drugs Authority Board and charges them to protect consumers' health. There's also business, sports, showbiz and international news coming up in the next 60 minutes. Stay tuned.
News at 8 with Israel Lai.
The chairman of the Electoral Commission has been summoned to Parliament to explain why the district-level elections cannot come off as scheduled. It was originally slated for October this year, but the EC chairman recently told the Public Accounts Committee it has had to be postponed due to lack of funds.
Though the EC had put in a request for 327 million Ghana cedis for its operations, it was allocated only 141 million Ghana cedis. This, the Commission says, leaves it with inadequate funds to conduct and supervise the district-level elections. According to the Second Deputy Minority Whip, Ignatius Bafuewa, the term of office for the current Assembly members, which expires before October, will pose a lot of challenges for the Constitution if new Assembly members are not elected. The First Deputy Speaker, Ebo Batinedro, has therefore directed the leadership ensures the chairman of the Commission appears before the House. The Deputy Majority Leader, Alfred Agbeshi, assured the Speaker he will be brought to the House.
The Electoral Commissioner will appear before the Committee of the Whole, and I believe after his presentation to the committee, if honourable members still want to pursue his motion, it will be appropriately scheduled by the Business Committee for him to take. But I remember that it was scheduled, but because of the business of the House, it was to be rescheduled. And now that he has raised the matter, after the Commissioner appears before the whole House, and you still feel that you want to go ahead, it shall be rescheduled by the Business Committee for your taking.
The lawmakers believe the district-level election is a constitutional mandate and the EC must be resourced adequately to undertake its duty. The EC chairman is expected to appear before the House in the coming week.
In another development, all metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies in the country will by the end of this month be provided GPS maps to enable them meet government's deadline to name streets in their areas of jurisdiction. President Mahama in November last year issued an ultimatum to the MMDCs to complete the street naming and house numbering exercises in their districts and municipalities by September 2014 or lose their jobs.
Minister for Local Government and Rural Development, Kojo Oponfosu, in an interview explained the procurement of the GPS maps will help speed up the street naming exercise in the various MMDCs.
The next step, which I believe by the end of March to early April would have done, is to supply all the assemblies with those equipment that they need. And in this exercise, the assemblies and the technical people going to implement the project are to use maps, digital images, which you require some equipment like GPS. If it's demonstrated to you, right now as we stand here, we can see this building. You can sit in an office and see this building and all the buildings around. So what we seek to do is to provide them with the equipment. They will use the satellite images to identify all the buildings and number them in the office, so that when you now see the officials in the field, the numbers that they have, they are going into the field and stencil the buildings. Then the next stage will be the plates.
He expressed confidence the president's deadline will be met. In the Greater Accra region, at least 3,584 streets in the Accra metropolis have been digitized and assigned names so far under the Street Naming and Property Addressing project. When completed, the system will provide the platform for a proper identification of all physical structures, the opportunity for effective revenue mobilization and collection, and the necessary platform for effective accountability on development in the metropolis. It is costing government some 3.8 million Ghana cedis to complete the street naming project in Accra and 10 million Ghana cedis to do same in the Ashanti region.
President John Dramani Mahama has asked mining companies to act responsibly in communities within which they operate. Speaking at a seminar on responsible mineral development initiative here in Accra, the president noted that it is regretful that some mining companies take their communities for granted and operate without regard for the welfare of their publics.
There was primarily a platform for players in the mining sector to share with their Guinean counterparts best practices in the management of natural resources. President John Dramani Mahama, who opened the seminar, mentioned that the adequate management of the country's mineral resource is of utmost importance to government.
In Ghana, one of the benefits that we have had in terms of having a long experience with extractive industry is the development of a mass base of human expertise in the mining sector. We've had a lot of geologists trained, mining engineers, and all kinds of people, who are critical to the advancement of the mining sector. And today, unlike in the past, the number of expatriate staff in most of the mining companies, especially the multinational mining companies operating in Ghana, has reduced significantly compared to previously. Because we even have a university, the University of Mines and Technology in Takwa, that every year is producing hundreds of graduates in mining and mining technology.
For him, mining companies would have to do more by way of their corporate social responsibilities.
There has been a new development in terms of what we call corporate social responsibility. In the past, the business of what happened in the communities next door, as I was describing a few minutes ago, did not concern the mining companies. Theirs was just to come and extract, pay their taxes, and then leave. Today, the philosophy of corporate social responsibility has caught on, and many mining companies realize that you cannot live in isolation to the communities that surround you. It should not be tokenism. In some cases, it's just done to show a certain sense of care, but it's not deep enough. And so we must establish guidelines for corporate social responsibility so that it really takes care of the critical needs of the society, and not something that is just done to be printed in brochures and circulated and saying that, oh, this company, is a good corporate citizen.
His Guinean counterpart, Professor Alpha Conde, indicated that their main challenge is lack of expertise in natural resource management and requested Ghana's assistance. Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Yao Ifabefi, noted the ministry is making strides despite the challenges.
As mentioned by the representative of the Chamber of Mines, leading multinational mining companies in the world are operating in Ghana, and this includes Anglo Gold Asante, Newmont, Goldfields, Golden Star Resources, and others continue to operate. Currently, the mining sector in Ghana contributes 27% of government revenue and employs about 28,000 people in the large-scale mining sector and as many as about 1 million in the small-scale mining sector. As of December 2012, 235 local and foreign companies held prospecting and reconnaissance licenses. Additionally, 37 companies have been granted mining leases.
the Ghana Investment Promotion Council, the Minerals Commission, the Ghana Chamber of Mines and representatives from the Precious Minerals Marketing Company each gave an overview of how the country is managing its natural resources and lessons learned over the years.
Northern Regional Minister Beat Ziding has been to Bimbilla at the head of a delegation from the Regional Security Council to meet with factions involved in a chieftaincy dispute there after it led to the outbreak of violence yesterday. The Nanumba North District Security Council has imposed a 12-hour curfew on the town after sporadic shooting on Thursday left one person dead. The shooting is said to have been triggered by a disagreement between the two factions of the Bimbilla Paramounting over the place of burial of the late chief of the town, Nakmana Salifu Dawanide. The chief, who died on Wednesday morning at the Tamale Teaching Hospital, was to be buried in the town, but the Ndani faction is said to have opposed the decision. 20 persons are said to be in custody now following the clashes. The regional minister joins us on the line with the very latest on efforts to restore peace. Good evening to you, sir. What did you find out on your trip to Bimbilla?
Good evening to you and then to your listeners. And let me start by correcting an impression. The person who died is not the late chief of Bimbilla. It's true that he was one of the contestants to the Bimbilla team. But at the time of his death, no Bimbilla now had been declared. And so there is no Bimbilla now, and the person who died didn't die as Bimbilla now. Nothing I need to correct that one.
Okay, thank you very much. So you're saying that that deals with the person who's supposed to have died, but how about as a result of the clash? Is there any relation at all? Did he die in the clash?
There is. We actually went there to meet the two factions because when the Bimbilla came vacant, one person was ensnared as Bimbilla, and another person was also ensnared as Bimbilla. And so the matter had to be brought to the regional House of Chiefs, where a determination was made. And subsequently, an appeal was filed, and the matter was sent to the National House of Chiefs. So it was during the pendency of that particular appeal that the other chief or the other contestant died. Even though he died as a chief, he died as chief of Napa and not as chief of Bimbilla. But from Napa, he was seeking a claim to the Bimbilla king. Now we went and we met. We got there a little bit late, so it wasn't possible for us to meet both sides. But we managed to meet one of the sides, the side that represents the deceased man, and we spoke with them. And I think that as far as we are concerned, we have made some headway. We have not concluded, but we have made some headway. Time was running out for us, and so it was not possible to meet the other side, that is the side representing the surviving contestant. And so we are scheduled to meet them at a later date.
All right. What can you tell us about the security in the town?
Well, what we observed was that the town is very calm, and people are going about their legitimate duties. But you can't take these things for granted. So we want to make assurances double assured that nobody takes undue advantage of the situation to take more trouble for us.
Okay, at the last check, we were told that one person had died as a result of the clashes and 20 people had been arrested. Can you give us an update on that?
Yes, that is also correct. And yes, we are informed that one person died. As for the circumstances under which he died, it's still debatable. But the truth of the matter is one person has lost his life. And then some other people have also been arrested and then detained. And they are in police custody. That one is also true. What we can say is that there are no further arrests because the place is calm, and I believe that it will continue to be calm for some time.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us on Joy News at 8. You heard the Northern Regional Minister, Bede Ziding. A task force from the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly has embarked on a decongestion exercise to clear unauthorized structures along some pavements at Edum. But the affected traders have accused the KMA of being insensitive for destroying their wares without giving them prior notification. Mahmoud Mohamed Nuruddin reports.
The Metropolitan Task Force stormed the area at about 2 p.m. and began destroying both the unauthorized structures and some consumable items such as fruits at Edum near the ministry. Instead of the task force to confiscate the wares and send to the office for the normal procedure to be followed, they rather destroyed not only the structures but also the foodstuffs. Affected traders were, however, not happy about the exercise and began insulting the task force team and even invoked curses on them. But that did not stop the team from destroying properties of the traders. The team also seized the phone of a man who decided to take videos of the exercise. Officials at the assembly declined to speak on camera, but the special assistant to the mayor, Samuel Jamefi, said the assembly did not instruct the task force to destroy the wares of the traders. He said the assembly asked them to confiscate the wares and send them to the assembly.
Every year, the United Nations World Food Programme provides more than 11 million schoolgirls with food to help keep them in education. Around 3 million vulnerable women also get special nutritional support. This year on International Women's Day, which falls on March 8, WFP is celebrating how empowering women can boost global efforts to end hunger.
Giving women the power to make choices over their lives is one of the first steps towards a world with zero hunger. That's according to WFP Executive Director Ethering Cousin. This year's United Nations theme for International Women's Day stresses that equality for women is progress for all. One example of a WFP program that focuses on women's advancement is Purchase for Progress, or P4P, an initiative that helps smallholder farmers, particularly women, become competitive players in the marketplace by producing food for sale and used in WFP programs. In Ghana, almost half of the 1,500 smallholder farmers participating in the P4P initiative are women. In northern Ghana, where women traditionally reap, thresh and process rice for sale using tedious manual methods of parboiling, P4P has provided farmer groups with rice threshers and reapers as well as semi-mechanized parboilers to ease the physical burden of their work. With support from other partners, the WFP has developed a P4P gender action plan to address the specific challenges women face, and it's targeting to train over 700 women this year. A report by the Food and Agriculture Organization estimated that closing the gender gap in agriculture by giving women farmers more resources could bring the number of hungry people in the world down by more than estimated 100 million people. The State of Food and Agriculture 2010-2011 report found that women lacked access to land, credit, tools and seeds, and that could boost agricultural production.
The deadlines for meeting the Millennium Development Goals are fast approaching, and Ghana largely appears to be on track. Statistics, however, show the progress doesn't reflect evenly across the social divide. The current state of Ghana's MDG implementation was revealed during a discussion held by the Zonta International Club of Accra ahead of International Women's Day.
The 8 Millennium Development Goals range from halving extreme poverty rates to halting the spread of HIV/AIDS and providing universal primary education by 2015. Countries across the world, as well as leading development institutions, agreed to work towards achieving these goals to better the livelihoods of people. Apart from sanitation, which has not seen much improvement, Ghana is said to be making general progress in poverty reduction, education, maternal and child mortality, as well as fighting AIDS. Statistics, however, show there are disparities in progress in various sectors.
People with higher incomes, in the higher income brackets, are able to afford a lot of things, and so they can give their children good health, good food, which is fundamental to fighting diseases. Now, people on the lower end of the income scale, which is about 20%, will not get the same opportunity. They don't have the means to provide the basic meals that will build the resistance of their family members. So we find that according to some sources, the infant mortality rate for those in the top bracket is half that of those in the lower income bracket.
Dr. Grace Bediako says Ghana needs to invest in research to come up with better ways to accurately measure situations in order to deliver useful data.
Our methodology confines us to the household level. And it's really a challenge not just in Ghana but across the world, because the statistics that are produced in Ghana and in other countries follow international standards. So if the methodology is not as developed as you require them to be, you are stuck in some sense. So we need to do also a lot of further experimentation and research to be able to measure what we need to measure for our benefit.
In celebration of Zonta Rose Day together with International Women's Day, the Accra branch of Women's Club Zonta International says they are dedicated to advancing the status of women in Ghana by contributing towards achieving the Millennium Development Goals.
One of our projects this year, we've done it before, is to provide birthing kits for pregnant women during the last trimester of their pregnancy. This is to ensure safe and clean delivery. In December, we went to Adan Health Center, and we donated 500 birthing kits. We also have a shelter for abused women.
The women say Ghana will be on the true path to meeting the MDGs if there is equity in progress across various social divides.
And we have more news coming up after the break. Don't go away. The debate on the state of the nation addressed by the president continued, with members requesting for more hours to thoroughly exhaust the issues contained in the address. The call for more time comes even as the leadership is proposing that the debate be concluded by Wednesday, March 12, for the two leaders to make their concluding remarks the following day. Here are excerpts of today's debate.
I keep finding statements like, listen carefully, keep quiet and listen. It's a lesson in economics. Keep quiet and listen. You should be writing down these statistics. I will advise you that you keep quiet and listen. In my opinion, these statements, probably, even though they were made in jest, were out of place for an important statement like the State of the Nation address. We want to find out what has happened to the filth in Accra. Accra is very filthy. We want to find out what has happened to the MP's Development Fund. We want to find out what has happened to our constituency offices. Maybe one or two have been built. There are 275 members of parliament. We don't have offices in our constituencies. We were promised.
Today we can boast of the additional 1,600 community health improvement compounds, CHIPS compounds, that is being expected to be added to the many that have been built by this government by 2016. And that is going to come out of the sacrifices that ministers of state have agreed to undertake by a 10% cut of their salaries. And I say kudos to a visionary leader and kudos to an effective working executive of the NDC-led administration. The Kolebu Pediatrics had been closed in 2006, but has come to life as a result of the new facilities that the President Mahama-led administration has provided it, and for which reason our infants will not be dying needlessly. When delivery of basic public services is so poor, when people in Kofobia continue to suffer power outages, they know that they are not the first in the scheme of things. When only yesterday, in some parts of Teshi, they suffered power outages so frequently that they lost count. Mr. Speaker, we are not putting our people first. When greater estates, when fuel prices are continually rising, not because of higher crude oil prices, but because of the cedi depreciation occasioned by poor economic management of the country, then you say you are putting people first.
By 2015, the people of Adenta, the people of Kato, the people of Teshi, La, Luwa, Babakam, Cantonment, Osu, almost all the areas in Accra, La Wallace area, the Lomadau area, they will all get access to water. Mr. Speaker, the sports bill and the youth bill is still on the drawing board, and the president was silent on these issues. Mr. Speaker, the president was again silent on the Maputo report. He was silent about the South Africa report. Mr. Speaker, we are preparing for Brazil, and very soon we'll hear 20 million, 10 million, 50 million.
An 11-member board to oversee the regulation of the Food and Drugs Authority has been inaugurated in Accra. Health Minister Sherry Ayete charged the new board to ensure they work in accordance with the Public Health Acts in the interests of consumers.
The ministerial committee set up to investigate the impasse between the Food and Drugs Authority and local importer of pharmaceutical products, Tobinco Pharmaceuticals, recommended, among other things, that a new board be constituted to assist with the operations of the FDA. And it is in this fulfillment of the recommendations that the 11-member board, chaired by Kofi Totobi-Kwache, was sworn into office on Friday by the Health Minister. Health Minister Sherry Ayete indicated that the previous board erred in several ways whilst carrying out its duties by single-handedly taking decisions to quarantine warehouses.
When goods are allowed to leave the port without the requisite permits to warehouses designated as quarantine places, there's no effective supervision. The law says before you bring in any consignment into this, you must have a permit. That is what the law says. So to quarantine a place, it must be under very, very serious consideration. It has to be brought to the attention of the minister. But the normal practice, every drug entering this country, every cosmetic, every equipment that is detailed under the Act should be subjected to the inspection, the prior approval of the Food and Drugs Authority for a permit before it enters our borders.
She called on the new board members to work closely with the ministry to effectively implement its regulations.
So I will appeal to the Food and Drugs Authority that they should no longer issue letters to quarantine warehouses. Everything should be referred to the sector ministry. And we will also write letters to the Customs Preventive Services drawing their attention to the regulation in the Act.
Chairman of the board, Kofi Totobi-Kwache, assured the new board would work in accordance to directives and policies to ensure safety of drugs and food in the country.
As a board, we will work within the framework of the Public Health Act. All of this, at the end of the day, we hope will inure to the benefit of the nation. And that at the end of our term of office, we hope it will be said that we have made a significant contribution to the administration of the food and drugs policy.
The board will also monitor district assemblies and other agencies of state to comply with the provisions of the Public Health Act.
Now, spending a significant sum of one's paycheck to buy water for domestic use is an all too familiar story for many of Accra's residents. But coping with the situation for a decade can have its toll not only on the individuals but also on the community. As Nia Krofi Smart Abbey reports, the Volta region town of Anyako is on the verge of being emptied of its residents, as many of them are relocating because they say they can no longer cope with a decade-long water problem.
Anyako is a quiet coastal town which lies a few meters away from Akachi in the Keta municipality of the Volta region. It used to be a fishing community bounded on both sides by a lagoon. I am in Anyako and I'm standing in a part of Anyako that used to be filled with water. It was some sort of lake or lagoon back in the days, but today this place is empty. It is very dry, almost like a desert, because residents tell me the water from this body is being siphoned to produce salt in the far-off town called Afiadinyingba. And today, residents are struggling to get access to water, potable water at that. And even the water they had before they started facing this drought was very salty. The once vibrant fishing community is now very quiet. Its streets are lined with empty gallons waiting to be filled with water for the various homes. Celestine Aplakwi, a resident of Anyako, tells me she spends on the average 10 Ghana cedis a day on water for cooking and laundry.
So year 2003, iko chiagba mi fo okpan bada shine hwehwea a chijeri karaka mieza 8,000 katato okune totoji akoro to haluvi plabo 5,000 plus 4 achi amieza ne awu akpala faraka 10 Ghana cedi afia nyanu yiraka afia nyanu afi no tokpa toto lovovo pure ta ha ima ga daga ajiba 2 cedi ohwea na aza sache seraka okpla via miandoga miavanoga pama baraka aba nyako dwala khama lagbagba.
According to Bernard Adika, another resident, the town folks have been told a site has been identified where water could be tapped for the area, but nothing has been done about the discovery. Some students of the Anglon Awomafia Senior High School say they sometimes go to school without taking a shower.
Actually, we don't have water, but sometimes the headmaster asks people to bring water. So sometimes we find it difficult. Sometimes we don't even bath before coming to school. Sometimes they'll bring water tank to come, but sometimes we find they'll not even open the tank because the water is not enough, unless the water is enough before they open the tank for us to fill the water.
We don't have water now, so we are drilling just boreholes and those ones that we are using, and we lack problem of rain right now, so even the water, we are having a serious water crisis. But I learned the MP for the district has invited tankers to be bringing water to town, especially for the students to be getting DS free, but some should be sold to the towns 20%. Actually, we've not yet seen the first one, but I learned for our campus they've brought twice the tanks, but in the town I haven't got to find any of them.
On the outskirts of the main Anyako township, though, the situation is quite different. Here, water flows readily. Godwin Agbotui tells me it is the result of the residents' own initiative.
We organize ourselves, and do you see hospital over there? There is water was there, so we connect from there down to our village here. Okay. So if they also want to get water, they should contact the waterways so that they should draw them the line.
And the availability of water means this businessman can make some good money supplying residents in the main town.
I'm always doing. I'm 40 persuades. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. In a day, how many trips in a one?
About 6 trips, 6 times. Yeah.
For now, though, residents of Anyako will have to depend on their neighbors for water and pray for a miracle to restore their lagoon so they can go back to fishing. For Joy News, Nia Krofi Smart Abbey, Anyako, Volta region.
And business news is up next.
Time now for some business reports with me, Abigail Adomakoinchi. Now, some oil marketing companies have threatened to shut down their service outlets if the National Petroleum Authority refuses to increase their distribution margins. The oil marketing companies are unhappy about what they deem the NPA's refusal to increase their margins. The last time the margins were adjusted was as far back as 2012, a situation said to be affecting the operations of most of these companies. The Bank of Ghana has presented 3 umbrella microfinance bodies with vehicles, printers, laptops and other logistics to enable them overcome challenges being experienced by players in the sector. The move is to help them effectively monitor the operations of the institutions they supervise and protect depositors' funds. It has been over 2 years since the Bank of Ghana introduced regulations in the microfinance industry after witnessing the unbridled springing up of these institutions throughout the country. The Bank of Ghana to date has issued final licenses to more than 394 microfinance institutions. An increasing number of the firms are, however, having to fold up by the day, with many sinking with depositors' funds. The central bank therefore believes the intervention is well intended.
As regulators, more resources and logistics, Mr. Chairman, are needed for effective regulation and monitoring of institutions. We are therefore witnessing another step in our evolving relationship, where we present to you the following vehicles, laptops and printers. The Bank of Ghana is aware of the fact that microfinance regulation is not a simple process, since the industry encompasses a wide array of institutions that provide a variety of services to many different customers. There is therefore the need for a balancing act by all stakeholders in protecting customers and maximizing profit whilst promoting financial inclusion.
For the umbrella bodies of the sector, the gesture comes as timely as mobility remains their biggest challenge.
We all saw how the industry went through challenges last year and the need for us to be on our toes to be able to protect depositors and Ghanaians who do business with microfinance institutions. So we see this as a good move to strengthen the industry and also to build the confidence that Ghanaians had in the industry previously. And we hope that with the vehicles provided, the laptop computer will be able to visit the companies regularly and monitor the activities to ensure sanity in the activities of our member companies across the country.
They also pledged their support to the central bank to help ensure the sector is sanitized. In other news, fishermen in Elmina have welcomed the new insurance policy which will ensure they are indemnified for the inputs they lose through accidents at sea without having to fall on government. The initiative was announced at Elmina in the central region by Fisheries Ministry Nayon Belijo. The farmers are, however, seeking further clarification on what exactly it entails. Gifty Andapia has more.
Fisher folks are faced with many dangers on the seas daily as they try to earn a living by providing fish for consumption. They themselves seem to have sunk into oblivion of these dangers as they have become used to their job until the danger actually confronts them through loss of fishing equipment or even their lives. That is when they turn to government for support. But the Fisheries Minister, Nayon Belijo, says provision of lost inputs by government cannot be sustained, hence the need for an insurance policy.
Fishermen will soon be insured. And we think this is very important for you. If you can see, the sea is not a gentle place to go. The waters can be very rough, and we keep on receiving petitions from you for compensation when big storms come and your vessels are put under the water, leading to loss of your outboard motors and fishing gear. So we are going to ensure that you are properly insured, and in the case of such incidents, you will easily be compensated, so you can replace your canoes, you can replace your outboard motors and other fishing gears.
Under the life policy package, compensation will also be paid in cases where lives are lost. The fisherfolk believe this will be beneficial, but they insist on more explanations. The program will be rolled out on a pilot basis after a technical team set up by the National Insurance Commission determines one of 5 insurance companies bidding for the job. Nayong Bilijo said that should be completed by end of March 2014. And that is when breakdown of the insurance policy can be given to fishermen. The fishermen, on the other hand, are waiting in anticipation. Gifty Andopia, Joy News, Elmina, Central Region.
That'll be all for business. For more news, visit myjoyonline.com. Sports is up next.
We begin sports tonight with boxing, and Joshua Clottey says he's ready to reconcile with his elder brother Emmanuel Clottey and put an end to their prolonged feud after his brother accused him of stifling his boxing career years ago. Joshua at the time expressed shock at his brother's outburst and parted ways with him. He has, however, confirmed to Joy Sports his desires of restoring their relationship.
Well, to be frank, to tell you the truth, I don't want him to come close to me.
Why?
Yeah, because he don't like me. I want him to like me as a brother, for him to follow me the rest of my career, for us to be like brothers. Use my car, use my house is yours. We are brothers. He don't want to do that. He's telling me that why did he come to live in my house? He's not going to come and live with me because he's the senior one. I was like, senior one, so what? You don't have anything. If I have, come and live with me for us to share everything that I have. He don't want to do that. I always want him to know that I am the junior brother who is still fighting for him to support me, for us to make the money and share. He don't want to do that. That's why I said I don't want him close to me. Because I'm scared to him, I'm scared to extent that I believe that if he comes close to me, he can just do something to me. Because he don't want to listen to nothing that I said. And he have something against me which I don't understand him.
Let's talk some football now. And the technical team of the Black Maidens has named the 21-man squad for the FIFA Under-17 World Cup in Costa Rica later this month. Also, head coach of the Black Satellite, Celestete, has called up 30 players ahead of their African Youth Championship qualifiers, with camping set to begin this weekend. The technical team of the Black Maidens has named 8 players from its team that finished third at the previous FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup for this month's tournament in Costa Rica, and also included a 13-year-old for the competition. Fuseina Mumini, who only recently turned 13, makes the team for her World Cup debut, and she is the youngest player at the competition. Naomi Anima, Jane Ayem, Vida Opoku, Gladys Amphobia, Samira Abdul Rahman, Belinda Anani, Ladi Isaka, and Azume Adams are all selected in the list of 21 submitted for the tournament. The Black Maidens, who finished third at the finals in 2012 in Azerbaijan, have been pit against the 2012 runners-up Korea DPR, champions of the inaugural edition in 2008 Germany, and Canada at the group stage. Meanwhile, Coach Celestete has called up 30 players into the men's and the 20 national team for the impending African Youth Championship qualifying in May. After 3 successive screening exercises, the Black Satellites coach announced his squad, which includes 5 members of Ghana's silver-winning side at the African Nations Championship. Asiedu Atobra, Paul Asare, Sule Mohammed, Samuel Afo and Emmanuel Asante are all part of the squad who are to report on Sunday at the team's camp base in Adenta. The Black Satellites, 3-time winners of the African Youth Championship, could face either Sierra Leone or Guinea in the second round, as both sides will meet in the first round stage. That's your sports for tonight and for the week. Have a good weekend. My name is George Addy Jr. Israel Jones is with some more.
Sports was brought to you now.
The Ghana Music Honors, which is part of the celebration of the Music Week, came off at the National Theatre, Accra.
The National Theatre hosted the first edition of Honoring Excellence in the Music Industry last Wednesday. This, according to the Musician Union of Ghana, will be an annual ceremony to honor people in the industry who are making a good impact. The show saw some refreshing performances from musicians like the Heaven No Beer hitmaker, Atongo.
There is no fear. I want to hear everybody sing it together. That is why we've been drinking all the beer. For when we will go in right to heaven, all our friends will be drinking all the beer.
Some of the winners share their excitement.
I've been nominated or picked up amongst them. For me, it's a great honor. I can tell my children that Daddy did this in 2014. So you guys got to work hard.
It is respect for the fans. It is respect for the people who listen to music. It is respect for the industry.
Musica President Barima Osei Asare urged Ghanaians to patronize the epitome of the Ghana Music Week, GH All Stars.
And that'll be it for Showbiz.
Showbiz was brought to you by Airtel Money. It's simple, secure, instant.
She has delivered hundreds of babies, many of whom are prominent members of society today, including renowned lawyer Nana Santibediutu. At an incredible age of 95, Madam Mary Opoku-Agyeman is still in active service as a private midwife. Tonight at 9 p.m., PM Express Personality Profile celebrates our grandmother, Mary Opoku-Agyeman, ahead of International Women's Day. PM Express comes up right after the bulletin. Now, before we go a quick round through our top stories, Northern Regional Minister visits Bimbilla in efforts to promote peace after one person was reported dead in sporadic shooting on Thursday. Parliament summons Electoral Commission chairman over the EC's inability to conduct and supervise district-level elections. Metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives to be giving GPS maps to help them facilitate work on national street naming exercise. President Mahama asked mining companies to be more responsible in communities in which they operate. And Health Minister inaugurates new Food and Drugs Authority Board and charges them to protect consumers' health. That'll be all for the bulletin. My name is Israel Lion. Have a good evening.